The seasons longed for each other, like men and women, in order that they may be cured of their excesses. Spring, if it lingers more than a week beyond its span, starts to hunger for summer to end, the days of perpetual promise. Summer in turn soon begins to sweat for something to quench its heat, and the mellowest of autumns will tire of gentility at last, and ache for a quick sharp frost to kill its fruitfulness. Even winter, the hardest season, the most implacable, dreams as February creeps on of the flame that will presently melt it away. Everything tires with time and starts to seek some opposition to save it from itself. Clive Barker, The Hellbound Heart. I remember reading that book way, way back in the day, like when I was right before I turned 18. And that brought some images to mind about kind of how I feel about tarot these days, and I guess the aims and the ambitions of a lot of people who have decided to make this either a career or to make this an ardent hobby of theirs. And for me, what I notice about it is that there are two types of tarot card readers. There are ones that kind of want to pierce beyond the veil of the human condition and to elevate it, to raise vibrations, and to make it a spiritual practice that in turn empowers the entire collective. And then there are the tarot card readers that tend to offer something a little bit more sinister. And that sinister feeling or thing, that concept that a lot of readers tend to focus on is the abundance of limerence, not love. There are two different things about, these two topics, limerence and love. There's a way we can separate them. Love is the universe, and love is the universal force that binds everything together in the universe. Whereas when we have limerence is the longing and pining for things that have long since passed. And after reading this passage here, it kind of triggered a bit of thoughts, towards me about, or within me rather, about what I feel about love in the 21st century. Most people are basically wrapped in a tornado of souls, and by doing so, they are constantly pursuing things that are meant to die. And because they are aware of the mortality of limerence, the fact that limerence does have a shelf and a lifespan, that in order to keep it going, it must constantly seek out new sources for it to perpetuate itself. Whereas with love is eternal, and it remains eternal throughout our essence. Is the very thing that holds us together. The way our atoms are moving at a slow and constantly moving vibration, that's an act of love in itself. Otherwise, it could dissipate. Imagine if the universe had the same kind of mentality that we have towards, the people we find that we want in our lives, or the things that we pursue. And when those things are denied to us, that we pine for those things for a long time, ages, probably throughout the rest of our lives, while the ephemeral nature of this universe in the physical realm, where there are new things being born all the time and old things passing away. It's what we call dialectics a lot. And we hold on to the things that we need to let go of, and the things that we need to hold on to, we allow them to pass away in our lives. It's almost as if the priorities of tarot card readers and humanity in general are flipped on their head. I do tend to gravitate personally towards the tarot card readers who do focus a bit more on spiritual growth. Love and romance can be a good way to learn past karmic lessons and to attract the right person. But I find that it's quite difficult for people to do that in today's climate. Number one, I don't want to harp too much on the dating scene, but it is what it is. And it's a very reflection of that catastrophic experiment in connecting people through the smartphone. Even though we're doing this here now, I mean, on this channel, this is what we do. We speak through a camera, a smartphone, a computer, and this allows us to connect with one another. And this is how we can learn new kinds of arts. We can learn new art forms, we can learn new bits of knowledge, we can help guide ourselves as a collective throughout the difficulties of our lives and ascend above the ashes and the former selves that we have, held on to in the past. But with the limerence that has been perpetrated about specifically focusing on past relationships and whether this past person is going to reach out to us or whether this past person is going to say something or apologize, I have quite a bit of contempt for people who make it their daily affair to publish tarot card readings that engender this kind of spirit within their audiences. To tell people that they are going to meet with their past lover or that they're going to receive an apology from someone or that they're going to bump into, I don't know, their lover and their former lover in a supermarket, or that they have to direct their energy towards focusing on the past. The only thing the past teaches us is what we needed to leave behind in order to grow and move towards the future. And if we want to go even deeper into it, I would even say that there is no past or future. So a past person no longer exists. They're out of the picture. The future is not yet born. We have just the moment. And that is what we should be focusing on, the moment, the here and now, and what kind of changes we want to make to our life in order to make ourselves stronger and better people. To deceive people, to say that if they just hold on, in such and such month, this person is going to come back into your life and they're going to apologize to you. What does it matter? This person has feelings for you, but they're not saying it. Well, then fuck them. It should be very easy for people to communicate their emotions if they're emotionally mature enough. And quite possibly, yeah, maybe some people do grow up, but oftentimes they don't. Oftentimes a person's nature is not as ephemeral as we'd like it to be. Maybe those who are trying to grow spiritually do have that ephemeral nature where they are always constantly ascending towards a higher position and in their vibration, their frequency, things of that nature. But there's a large majority of people on this planet, I would even say, who are quite comfortable being where they are. And in that refusal to move forward, to grow, to spiritually develop, to evolve, they are forced to repeat this earth game an infinite amount of times and to forget the lessons of the past, only to repeat them in the future, and only to repeat them in a cyclical fashion, which to me is quite sad and depressing. I think that we can do better as a species to evolve beyond the trivial natures of the human condition and to improve the human condition. I'm all for evolution, and I think that there's a lot of merit that we could give towards this, that, perhaps in the future we can overcome this age that has descended upon us where we are constantly waiting for an ex, or we're constantly alpha widowed by people that we've had very basic carnal relationships with, and where there is actually no love present, but limerence, longing for something from the past, to which there's not really much of a substance there. There is no substance of the universe in a lot of the relationships that exist today. The good news about this is, and this may sound harsh, but it will separate the saints from the sinners if you want to put it in that terms. And in other terms, it will kind of weed out the weak that exist in our time. The ones that have spent their entire lives pursuing fruitless relationships instead of focusing on their goals and ambitions to building something. It doesn't have to be a family, but at least leaving a legacy. How many people on this planet do you believe will actually leave a legacy of something that is worthwhile remembering, something that we can etch in stone because of its greatness? And I'm not saying that I've even done that yet. I'm still working on my own path. But at least to be consciously aware that your legacy was all that you'll be remembered for. And even after, reading a little bit from the Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius, he talked about this quite a bit in detail. He said that, loosely put, all that we have here is the moment. The legacies that we leave, great men and women have even fallen to the loss of remembrance. People have forgotten their names. Their names have been etched in stone, but then those stones have turned to dust over the eons or over the millennia. So in the end, you have your soul. That's the thing that we work to ascend, the thing that we work to evolve and develop. And limerence doesn't allow us to do that. It keeps us on the carnal path, the tornado of souls that was mentioned in Dante Alighieri's Inferno. And I see this massive typhoon that has kind of enveloped the modern world and allowed people to spin on the same wheel that keeps them stuck in a very toxic cycle. And for the tarot readers that are actually helping to break people out of that cycle, I commend them for that. But there's a lot of tarot readers that I've found that make their living off of constantly keeping people stuck on the past, constantly keeping people stuck on former lovers, and constantly keep them stuck on trivial matters. These are just some thoughts that came to my mind. I'm not sure what you think about it. Maybe you've had a different experience with it. Let me know. I don't know. I just don't really see that that if we have this great tool at our disposal, which is the tarot, or which is, the occult, whatever you want to look at it, there should be more that we can accomplish with this. And I think that our vibration is sacred, and to keep it low by pining over a past person is, how can I say, is almost kind of like a form of blasphemy to the craft. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I guess I just had to rant before I wanted to go to sleep, but maybe you'll find something useful in it, maybe not. Maybe you'll think I'm a fucking moron for saying it, but whatever it is, to each his own. Anyways, thank you very much. Until next time.